Hi, good day everyone. I hope everyone is doing good. My name is Arjun Shrestha. I've been doing my internship with JB Hi-Fi Solutions here in Chadstone, Melbourne, and I hope everyone did pretty good with their internship as well. So today, as part of my internship program, I would like to do a short video interview with my mentor, and she's also the project manager for JB Hi-Fi Solutions in Melbourne. So I'd like to welcome Miss Bianca State in this video interview.
Thank you, Arjun.
Nice to meet you, Bianca.
Thank you. Nice to meet you too. After 3 months.
It's a great journey. Last 3 months have been like really amazing experience.
Oh, good. That makes me really happy to hear that.
Exactly.
It feels like it's gone so quickly, though.
Yeah, true. For me as well. I never felt like it was my internship, so that was awesome experience that I've ever had.
That's wicked. That's perfect. That's what you want it to be.
Exactly. So we'd like to know that how was your academic journey like when you graduated, and how was your journey to till JBI5 that you started working as a project manager here in JBI5?
Yeah, cool. So it's actually a really weird and wonderful journey. So believe it or not, I left high school, 12 years ago.
Okay.
And I actually studied journalism. So
Cool.
yeah, so I really love the English language. I really love writing and reading and talking to people. And so journalism is where I started. So I went straight from high school to that. Did really well academically, but found it really, really hard to break into that market. And retail management was always something that I really enjoyed. I enjoyed working with people, and I enjoyed having a team.
Okay.
So over the last few years, I've really been able to sort of fine tune that, and I've worked at some pretty large Australian brands. So I've worked for Easy DVD,
Sure.
I've worked for Vodafone and Three, which is a telecommunications company.
Okay.
I even worked for Bunnings, which is,
Wow.
sausage and chisel and hardware, which is
the Australian culture.
yeah, totally. So yeah, I suppose that little varied journey led me to JB. And funnily enough, I landed at JB because it was always a place that I thought was a lot of fun. It represented everything that I loved
Sure.
about life and family and friends, and yeah, the culture is what got me.
Exactly.
And I started off as a support coordinator, so that role that you've been doing with us for 3 months, that's how I started.
Okay.
And sort of through time and sort of proving how I work, my business acumen, I had an opportunity to lead our team. And that's where I am.
Yeah, that's great. Yeah, so it's quite interesting because, as you have said, you had different educational backgrounds,
Yes.
and you ended up with a telecommunication.
I know,
degree, so
it's completely random, but I suppose some of those abilities and skills that I learned in that particular degree really have helped me in doing what I'm doing. I think being able to communicate at a mature and senior leadership level has really helped me get further, definitely. And funnily enough, I'm actually back at uni part-time, which you know as well.
I know that.
Yeah,
so you've been working so hard recently. I've seen that, and so it's kind of motivation for me as well. So afterwards, like my friends will be looking this video so that they will get inspiration from you. So it's a great thing.
I think you're always learning, right?
Yeah,
I don't think
sure.
you ever know everything.
Exactly.
And so being able to find things during your work life that you really enjoy, whether that's accounting or people management or communication, you can always look for different avenues to keep learning and building on that skill. And so for me, I love people and teaching. So at the moment I'm doing a teaching degree, which is really exciting. So,
So
thanks.
the other thing is, as a recent graduate, and on top of that, as an international student, a lot of students have struggled to get into the job market. So and apart from that, they have different language barriers as well. So, what advice do you want to give for the students that they want to make most of it after the graduation so that they can step their foot on the employment opportunity or something like that?
Kind of hit the ground running. So I think two answers to that. So first part's all around English. And obviously during your studies you're exposed to English, but often a lot of it is quite formal. And I suppose in the workplace a lot of what we use is quite casual English. So I suppose from that perspective, the more that you can do to sort of put yourself in the middle of a lot of people using that language really fluently, whether that's a sporting team or a hobby or something similar, a group of friends, getting out and about with your community. I think the more you can practice that language and use it in a really natural, non-academic setting, the better.
Yeah.
But also, I think in terms of job market and being job ready, I think if you can find something that you really enjoy, like a passion or a skill, and if you can look at ways in which that can overlap with what you do. So whether that's community service, whether that's something that you can find to really tap into a role. So for example, if you've got a passion for technology, if you love being up to date with the latest mobile or laptop or gadget, maybe JB Hi-Fi is the right place for you.
Exactly.
So it's all about finding ways in which you can connect with your employer, because for me, that's really impressive when I'm interviewing.
Okay, and the thing is, I've been working here for the last 3 months with JB Hi-Fi and under your supervision. So I've seen you engaged in a lot of sporting activities and you are doing a lot of work, and on top of that you are studying as well. So how do you manage your time as a student, as a project manager, and as a family member as well? Because students, we struggle a lot regarding the time management. So do you have any specific tips for that so that it will help us?
Yeah, so I think the first tip I can give is know yourself. Know what you yourself are capable of and understand what your limits are. Everybody has a different limit. For some people it might be being able to study, do sport and have time with family. For others it might be more than that. So for me, I understand what I need to do every day, every week. But more importantly, I always allow for my time. So I'll get very cranky if I don't get any of my time. So there is specific days or nights throughout the week where I don't have anything scheduled, and I won't pick up any additional activities, because I know that in order for me to feel like I'm at peace, for me to feel like I'm in control of my studies, I need to have that time separately.
Yeah.
What that does mean is that when I am at home and if I know I have to do uni, it's very short and sweet. It is targeted, it has purpose, I don't muck around. And if I have sport, then it's straight to that commitment, achieve it and come back home. So there's no dilly-daddling, there's no sort of mucking around, it's just straight to the point, purposeful.
Exactly, because a lot of time what happens with us is like, okay, we have our assignments due, okay, we have to do that thing. So a lot of things, it mixes up.
Yes.
So that's how a lot of students, we tend to struggle in this process.
Yeah.
So the other thing I would like to ask you is like, everybody, there is like a lot of graduates in the market.
Yes.
And on top of that, like they have degrees and
lots of degrees.
Exactly.
More degrees than me. Yeah.
A lot of degrees, but as an employer, what set of skills, what set of behavior we fresh graduates need to improve so that we can increase the chance of employability in the job market?
Yeah, so I think you mentioned a really important point at the end. So the word you had at the end was behavior, and the first one you said was skills. I would actually reverse those.
Okay.
So for me, a skill can be taught. Right? It doesn't matter if it's a system or a theory or a product, we can teach you that, that's fine. But behavior is critical. So for me, I see that as our culture here. So one thing that made you stand out, Arjun, in your interview was the way you came across. You were laughing, you had a big smile on your face. You instantly made me feel really comfortable, and I felt like I trusted you. Straight up in our interview process, and I think we talked for 5 minutes.
Yeah.
So I think
I remember that.
Yeah, I think for me, it's someone's personality, it's their culture, it's the way they want to fit in, it's their willingness to learn, and their ability to be proactive and demonstrate in an interview process. And it only has to be a 5 or 10 minute interview for that to come across. Is that they want to be there and that they're passionate. It's the skills that come after that for me. But first and foremost, it's you as a person. It's your passion and your ability that comes through.
Okay. What sort of behavior or what sort of personality that one needs to have to work in JB Hi-Fi's culture?
Yeah, so I think ultimately our culture comes down to our people. So it doesn't matter if you go into a retail store, which, you know, I think you said in your interview, that's how you knew us. You knew us because of our amazing stores.
I purchased my first laptop.
You did, yeah, absolutely. So a lot of people know us for our stores, but it doesn't matter if you go to a shop, head office, or to one of our warehouses, you'll get the same experience and you meet people who genuinely love what they do. So first and foremost, what makes us with our culture is not the systems or the colour of the paint on the wall or anything like that. It's not the bright yellow. It's actually the people that make it. And so people who put the team first, who think about, you know, every day, what am I doing? How is the task or my role helping our customers, helping our business, and helping my team? And I think if you put those three things first, or at least front of mind when you're doing, whether it's reconciliation or you're helping a customer achieve an outcome, you can sort of never go wrong. And I think that's really what steered us. Yeah. So matching our behaviours to what we're doing has sort of been critical above all. And that's something that you've done really, really well over the last 3 months. And it's good to see that, that's all right. And it's good to see that you've picked up on that in the team too. And really having fun while getting it done has sort of been our mentality in our business unit. And we have a lot of laughs, a lot of jokes. You cop a lot of flack for supporting your football team. So that's been key.
I had such an amazing experience. So and the other thing is, as an international student myself, so we are doing this professional year program with all of them are international students. So personally, what I felt like is there is a kind of gap with, like, in terms of communication or getting along with the Australian culture.
Right.
So there is a gap with international students and the native Australian people. So what sort of characteristics we need to build, or like what do we need to do more so that we can get along with Australian people, know more about Australian culture? So what tips do you want to give my friends?
What tips? Wow, I feel like that could be possibly a really big conversation. I think above all, open your hearts and share your knowledge. I think, you know, one thing we've done a lot.
JB Hi-Fi being one of the best company here in Australia in retail industry. So what sort of talent or what sort of characteristics you want to build on new recent graduates that in future who will be coming here to do their internship? So how do you utilize their talent or something?
Yeah, so I think it's a really good point. So I think, you know, 12 weeks is a very short time, right? Yeah. To train and upskill somebody in a role, in a business that's already humming and rolling. So I think one thing that, you know, JB is committed to continuing to improve is really getting to know what makes you unique. Because there are so many different international graduates out there, there's so many skills and stories and personalities. We sort of need to take the time to understand you. So, you know, if you have 2 or 3 particular skills or abilities or even interests, we need to know that. And I would encourage, you know, other graduates to tell us up front, you know, hey JB or hey Bianca, I'm really interested in this particular thing. Is that something we can explore over the course of our internship? Don't just let the internship happen. Don't just let the days and weeks kind of melt into each other. Be proactive. Talk about your learning. Because I think, you know, particularly for myself, I will do everything I can to make that happen. It doesn't mean I can make everything happen because there is the reality of running a business, but certainly the more open and communicative we are, the better we can plan for that. And so I think planning comes into it. And like I said, really understanding those core elements that make you unique and then harnessing those in your role.
Okay. Yeah, that's great information, Bianca. I would like to thank you so much. And personally, I had really great experience working with JB Hi-Fi that I'll never forget. So that I can take the skills that I learned here in my future career. So yeah, once again, I would like to thank you so much for providing me this time.
You're very welcome. No, thank you.